Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And let's just get right into this review. So at the very beginning of the final episode of Perfect Match Season 2, Harry and Jessica are having a really heated back and forth with each other because Jessica is pissed off at this point with Harry because she ended up hearing from Melinda that when she went to Guys' Day, Harry was all over her. He didn't care about his relationship with Jessica at the time. He was carrying Melinda around. He kissed her 3 times. And according to Melinda, he said he wanted to put a baby in her and he wanted to have sex with her. And Jessica is confronting Harry because Harry told her a half-truth. He told her that all he did was carry Melinda to the bathroom because there was a lot of rocks on the ground and she was walking barefooted. And then he said that he told her she would look good pregnant, but that's not all he said to Melinda. And so he definitely was omitting what he actually said. And while Jessica is confronting Harry, he's pretty much denying that he did the things that Melinda is saying that he did. And I truly don't understand why he's denying it because there's cameras everywhere and he knows that they're going to end up airing exactly what he was doing. So he would have been better off just telling Jessica right then and there what he did. So obviously you can tell that Jessica has a strong connection to Harry. She really likes him and she wants to be with him. They've already been telling each other that they love one another, and Harry's been talking about marrying her and how he wants to be there for her and her daughter. And obviously he was dangling everything that Jessica wants right in her face, and she took the bait. And the thing about it is that I don't even know if Harry was being genuine. Like, I do think that he does like Jessica and he did want to be with her, but I don't think that he wanted to be with her in the long run because Harry still wants to play games and do what he wants to do, and that's been shown even in his recent actions that he's done since the show has been over. So despite the fact that Jessica really does want to be with Harry, she decided that she was going to unmatch with him and she was going to go home. Harry ended up going home too because he didn't want to match with anybody but Jessica, and I respect the fact that she told him that she didn't think that they should match because right now they're not a perfect match because Harry definitely showed her that when she's not around, if there's temptation there, he's going to give into it, and that's not something that you want. And so even though Jessica does want to be with him, I respect the fact that she decided to choose herself. But I will say I do feel like she was a little bit harder on Melinda than she was to Harry, and maybe because she thought that her and Melinda were cool and Melinda knew that they were together, that Melinda shouldn't have been trying to tempt Harry. And personally, I wouldn't have done what Melinda did either. Like, I wouldn't have gone after Harry knowing that he was connected to Jessica. However, Jessica knew what she was getting herself into on this show, and at the end of the day, Melinda and all the other unmatched girls were brought into Guys' Day just to get the guys to give into temptation to see if they really had strong connections with the girls that they were matched with. So really, Melinda was just doing her job. It was for Harry to not give in to temptation and respect the fact that he had Jessica. And Jessica and Harry were not the only couple tested when it came to Guys' Day and Girls' Day, because also Tolu and Chris got tested as well, because Chris really was attracted to Xanthi and he started having a conversation with her. And in his confessional, he was saying that he is attracted to Xanthi and that if she was still in the house, he would be interested in matching with her. And then he ended up telling Xanthi that he feels like because he spent so much time matched up with Tolu, he hasn't really gotten a chance to get to know anybody else. And I was honestly disappointed in Chris when he said this to Xanthi because it made me feel like he wasn't genuine with Tolu, and Tolu seems very genuine. Like, out of all the girls in the house, I feel like Tolu really wanted love, and I feel like she truly did like Chris. Now, despite Xanthi telling Tolu what Chris said, Tolu decided that she was going to match with Chris anyway, and I'm not mad at Tolu for giving Chris another chance and matching with him because this is the first time that he did something that was a red flag to her. However, I do think that she needs to keep her eyes open because he already showed Xanthi that he does have some red flags that she needs to watch out for. Now, Ellie's and Justin also were tested, and the two of them ended up breaking up with each other. Justin actually ended up leaving because Ellie's decided that she wanted to connect with Brighton. I don't understand why she did that because I honestly don't feel like Brighton is genuine. Like, not only was Brighton trying to get with Ellie's, but he was also trying to match up with Micah too. And the only reason why he decided to go with Ellie's is because he wanted to get back into the house. And the reason why I'm saying that Chris genuinely like Ellie's is because he actually expressed his feelings for her earlier that day, and she felt like he was getting too deep too soon. And then she also ended up deciding to get with Brighton, and he decided that he was going to go home. He had the opportunity to try to match with one of the other girls, but he didn't want to because his connection was only with Ellie's. And he also didn't show up at the end when they had to choose who was going to be the perfect match this season. He didn't show up. He decided to leave completely. And don't even get me started on Micah and Kaz, because I wasn't a fan of Micah on Love is Blind, but this show actually made me change my mind to Micah. I actually like her now, and I feel like she showed a different side of herself. I feel like she showed a little bit more of a vulnerable side to herself, whereas on Love is Blind, she showed that she was a mean girl, and I like that she didn't do that this time around. But Kaz was being really messy, because although that is the purpose of this show, is to try to find your perfect match, so you always have to keep your options open, I feel like he kept his options open a little bit too much, and he was a little bit too disrespectful to his relationship with Micah, because he sat there and he joined in on the drinking game with the rest of the cast, and he started making out with Holly while he was still matched up with Micah. And then when he realized that there was no spark between him and Holly, when he saw Micah having a conversation with Brighton, he decided that he was going to match up with Christine. Christine is the one who at Guys Day, she kept trying to get Kaz to kiss her. She was begging a little bit, and it was kind of embarrassing, but she definitely was trying to get him to kiss her. He didn't actually do it, but him matching up with her just because he saw Micah talking to Brighton shows that he wanted to switch up who he was matched with anyway, because he didn't even know what Micah and Brighton were talking about. Like, for the most part, they were talking about him. And because Brighton decided to match up with Ellie's because she asked him before Micah did, Micah decided that she was going to settle for Izzy. I don't agree with that, though. I truly do feel like Micah should have just did what Jessica did and decided that she was going to go home, because the person that she wanted to match with ended up matching with somebody else. I would have had a little bit more respect for Micah had she would have just left, because we all know that she didn't have a connection to Izzy and she wasn't attracted to him. So I don't really see the point in her deciding to match with him just to stay in the house. And the crazy thing about it is they showed the clips of each couple in their rooms having conversations or doing whatever they were going to do. And while Micah constantly kept talking to Izzy about her relationship with Kaz and how hurt she was that he matched with Christine instead of her, Kaz was in his room with Christine, laying on top of her, making out. So I really don't think he cared about her at that point. Now they end up having their final compatibility challenge, where they have to build a bridge by how well they know their partner. The first couple to make it across their bridge ends up winning. Every time they get an answer right about their partner, they get another plank to lay across their bridge. That way it makes it more easier for them to get to the other side. And Talou and Chris ended up dominating the game, and they actually ended up winning. But the only reason why they ended up winning over Steven and Alora is because Alora forgot to ring her bell, and that's what ended up making Talou and Chris win. But I don't agree with the choices that Talou and Chris made when they decided to put people on dates. Like, I don't agree with them putting Izzy on a date with Jessica, because Jessica obviously was not over Harry. She just left the house the previous night. So I didn't think that it made sense that Talou and Chris decided to put Jessica on a date with Izzy. I don't feel like that was fair to Izzy, because everybody knew that Jessica wanted Harry and that she wasn't attracted to Izzy, so that wasn't going to go anywhere. They could have put Izzy on a date with Britton instead. Even though they might not have matched, he would have had a better chance with her than Jessica. But I do agree with them putting Christine on a date with Nigel, because obviously there was chemistry there and there was an attraction there. And I feel like because her and Kaz got together at the very last minute, it only made sense for Christine to go on a date with somebody else. Micah wanted to go on a date though, and she was hoping it was her, but it ended up being Christine. And because Kaz was upset at the fact that Christine was going on a date with somebody else, all of a sudden he started questioning his decision to match with Christine over Micah, and so he ends up pulling Micah to the side and apologizing to her for matching with Christine instead of her, and saying that it was a mistake and that he really is interested in being with Micah. And Micah was interested in matching with Kaz again because she does have feelings for him, and I can understand why she decided to give him another chance. However, I do like that Micah decided to tell Kaz that she was not going to match with him until he had a conversation with Christine first about it, because he didn't do that for Micah. He just ended up matching with Christine, and Micah was basically blindsided, and she didn't want the same thing to happen to Christine. Now, Micah does end up telling Christine when she comes back from her date and they have the final mixer that Kaz actually ended up apologizing to her and saying that he wanted to match with her again. And Christine was upset about this because she felt like Kaz tried to take the easy way out, and the reason why he went back to Micah is because he felt like there was competition with Nigel. So, because Christine was upset at the fact that Kaz decided to get back together with Micah, she decided that she was going to match with Nigel. And although they have a connection and they look good together, for me, I didn't take them seriously as the perfect match because at the end of the day, they got together at the very last minute. And the very next day, actually, Izzy and Jessica told everybody that they decided to unmatch because they realized that they weren't a good fit together. And, obviously, Jessica admitted that she's not over Harry. And I respect the fact that because she wasn't over Harry, she didn't want to lead Izzy on. However, I don't think that she should have matched with Izzy in the first place because she knew deep down inside it wasn't going to go anywhere. Now, I'm just going to get right to it. I feel like Alora and Steven were robbed of winning the perfect match because I truly do feel like they were the ones that should have won. Not because I just like them together, but because they showed that even through temptation, they can stick with each other and not give in to temptation. They were both put on dates with their exact type, and they didn't end up giving into temptation and going to match with anybody else but each other. They communicated well, and they just made each other happy overall. So I don't understand for the life of me why Christine and Nigel ended up winning. Not only did Christine and Nigel get together the very last day, but we didn't even get to observe how they are together. Like, would they have stayed together if they were put on dates with other people? And that's what I was wondering, and that's why I don't understand how they won. Like, yes, Christine and Nigel look good together, and obviously there's chemistry, but we didn't get to see if they could last when temptation is put in their faces. And to be honest with you, I don't even think that Christine would have chosen to match up with Nigel had Kaz not decided that he was going to rematch and make up with Micah. I think she would have chose to stay with Kaz and she wouldn't have even gotten with Nigel. So I don't understand why that wasn't being considered. And look, they did end up showing the clips of Harry and Melinda all over each other at Guys' Day, and I don't understand why Harry denied it because he knew at some point this was going to be shown. We saw that he definitely was carrying Melinda around. They definitely did kiss a few times because he even ended up going up to production and asking them if they caught it on camera that him and Melinda ended up kissing. And then he absolutely did make the comment about getting Melinda pregnant. So I just don't get why he denied it because it was going to be seen anyway. However, he did end up explaining himself and apologizing to everybody, mainly Jessica. I think the two of them ended up dating after the show was over for a little bit, but because Harry's antics when it came to his Dancing with the Stars partner, allegedly the two of them ended up breaking up because of that. Overall, I think this season was more entertaining than the first one, but I just don't like the way that it ended because I truly don't feel like, Nigel and Christine should have won.